Why do we pour endless love into people who treat us poorly while starving the one person who needs it most? Ourselves. This revelation hit me like lightning when I met Sarah, a 47-year-old teacher who had spent 2 decades in a marriage that slowly drained her spirit. When her husband left her for his secretary, Sarah continued making excuses for him, shouldering the blame, and convinced herself she simply wasn't good enough. She had completely forgotten who she was before becoming someone else's shadow. Sarah's story isn't unique. We live in a society that conditions us from childhood to believe our worth comes from external validation. We hunger for approval in every like, comment, and nod of acceptance. We become emotional beggars, waiting for someone else to grant us permission to feel valuable. But here's what the ancient Stoics understood that we've forgotten. Your worth isn't up for debate. Chapter 1. The Cost of Self-Abandonment. The Stoics taught that whoever enslaves themselves to others' opinions stops being master of their own soul. When we abandon our authentic selves to please others, we begin a process of silent self-destruction that can span years, decades, or even entire lifetimes. Epictetus emphasized that true freedom starts when we stop seeking approval from those who don't understand our value. Yet most of us do exactly the opposite. We reshape ourselves according to others' expectations until we become blurry copies of what everyone else wants us to be. Picture your life as a masterpiece painting. Every decision you make to please others is a brushstroke you didn't choose. Over time, the canvas no longer reflects your vision. It becomes a confused mixture of everyone else's desires except your own. You look in the mirror and don't recognize the person staring back. The absence of self-love isn't just an emotional deficit, it's a betrayal of your very existence. When you don't value yourself, you broadcast a clear message to the world. I don't deserve respect, love, or consideration. And the world, brutal in its honesty, responds accordingly. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that we are architects of our own experience. If you build your identity on others' foundations, don't be surprised when the structure crumbles at the first storm. Sarah built her self-worth on a man's approval who never truly valued her. And when he left, her entire world collapsed. The problem isn't that we love others, it's that we've forgotten to include ourselves in that equation. We've learned to be generous with our time, energy, and understanding toward others while being cruel and merciless to ourselves. We speak to ourselves with a harshness we'd never use with a stranger. According to Stoic philosophy, this self-destructive pattern has a deep root. The false belief that our value lies outside ourselves. We think if we land the perfect job, find the ideal partner, achieve the perfect body, or gain certain people's approval, then we'll be worthy of love. But this pursuit is like chasing the horizon. No matter how fast you run, you never arrive. Stoic wisdom invites us to a radical awakening. Your value is not negotiable. It's not something others can grant or take away. It's a fundamental truth of your existence, as undeniable as the fact that you breathe. When you forget yourself, you don't just lose your identity, you lose your power. You become a ship without a rudder, at the mercy of others' opinion currents. Your happiness depends on others' moods. Your self-esteem fluctuates based on comments you receive, and your future rests in the hands of people who may not even understand what you need. Chapter 2. The Practice of Genuine Self-Love. Self-love isn't a feeling that magically appears one morning when you wake up. It's a practice, a daily discipline requiring the same dedication as any skill you want to master. The Stoic philosophers understood this deeply and left us powerful tools for building a solid relationship with ourselves. Seneca showed us that the wise person walks with themselves, as if they always had the best company. This doesn't mean isolating from the world, but developing an intimate friendship with yourself, one that doesn't depend on others' presence or absence to flourish. The first step to truly loving yourself is recognizing the symptoms of self-love deficit. Do you find it hard to ask for help because you feel undeserving? Do you avoid necessary changes because you don't trust your ability to adapt? Do you feel uncomfortable being alone because silence confronts you with thoughts you'd rather avoid? These symptoms are warning signals indicating you've disconnected from your intrinsic worth. But here's the good news. Stoicism teaches us that awareness of the problem is already the first step toward the solution. Start by taking an honest inventory of who you really are. Not who you think you should be, not who others expect you to be, but who you are right now. Write down your qualities, talents, and strengths. Include even small things you take for granted. Your ability to listen, your sense of humor, your resilience in facing difficulties. Next, practice the Stoic exercise of radical gratitude. Every morning, before the outside world invades your mind with its demands, take 5 minutes to acknowledge the basic blessings of your existence. You can see, hear, think, walk, breathe. You have a place to sleep, access to clean water, the capacity to love and be loved. These aren't small things. They're daily miracles most people take for granted. Marcus Aurelius taught us that the soul strengthens more by facing pain than by avoiding it. This means you must also learn to accept your flaws as part of the sculpture that time is molding. You're a work in progress, not a finished product. Every mistake is valuable information. Every fall is an opportunity to rise stronger. Think about the marble Michelangelo transformed into David. They say the block had cracks, imperfections, pieces other sculptors had considered useless. But in the master's hands, those same imperfections became part of the work's greatness. Your flaws don't disqualify you from love. They make you human, authentic, real. According to Stoicism, the next step is taking total responsibility for your emotional life. This doesn't mean blaming yourself for everything that happens, but recognizing you have the power to choose your response to any circumstance. You can't control what others do or say, but you have absolute control over how you interpret and respond to those events. Self-love also requires establishing clear boundaries. You must learn to say no to demands that drain your energy without contributing to your growth. You must distance yourself from toxic relationships that make you feel less valuable. You must reject jobs, commitments, or situations that violate your fundamental values. Epictetus emphasized that we cannot control what happens to us, but we can completely control our response. This is perhaps Stoicism's most liberating teaching. Your inner peace doesn't depend on external circumstances, but on your ability to maintain serenity regardless of what's happening around you. Practice speaking to yourself with the same compassion you'd use with your best friend. When you make a mistake, instead of flogging yourself with destructive criticism, ask, "What would I tell someone I love if they were going through this?" Then give yourself that same advice and understanding. Remember that loving yourself doesn't mean thinking you're perfect or superior to others. It means recognizing your complete humanity, with its lights and shadows, and choosing to treat yourself with the respect and consideration any human being deserves. It means becoming your own ally instead of your worst enemy. Chapter 3. Self-love as a life philosophy. Self-love isn't a destination you reach and stay at forever. It's a path you choose to walk every day. A life philosophy that transforms not only your relationship with yourself, but all your relationships with the world. When you truly love yourself, you become immune to many of the emotional poisons that destroy people. Resentment, hatred, revenge, and constant comparison. Not because you're perfect, but because you found an internal source of validation that cannot be contaminated by external toxicity. The Stoics help us understand that self-love is the most powerful antidote to self-imposed suffering. When you know who you are and value that identity, you no longer need others' approval to feel complete. You no longer need to compete constantly to prove your worth. You no longer need to sacrifice your authenticity to belong to groups that don't understand you. This transformation also radically changes your definition of success. You abandon the pursuit of artificial success, excessive consumption, accumulating possessions you don't need to impress people you don't really care about. Instead, you build your own concept of fulfillment based on authentic values and genuine goals. Musonius Rufus emphasized that humanity's first duty is not to become an enemy to oneself. This means learning to say no to everything that harms you. Self-imposed unhappiness, the emotional violence of cruel thoughts, the merciless self-demand that never lets you feel sufficient. Simultaneously, it means learning to say yes to everything that nourishes you. Forgiveness toward yourself and others, genuine friendship that enriches your life, moments of silent reflection that connect you with your essence, and the ability to begin again whenever necessary. When self-love becomes your life philosophy, you shift from survival mode to growth mode. Instead of spending energy defending yourself from powerless criticism or wasting time convincing others of your worth, you invest that energy in creating, contributing, and becoming the best version of yourself. This transformation also affects how you love others. When you have a healthy relationship with yourself, you can love others from abundance, not scarcity. You don't seek in relationships what only you can give yourself. You don't depend on others to feel valuable. Instead, you share your wholeness and receive others, creating deeper and more authentic connections. According to Stoicism, self-love also grants you the necessary courage to live according to your values, even when that means going against the current. Group approval loses its paralyzing power when you know your decisions align with your inner truth. Fear of rejection dissolves when you defend what you truly believe. Marcus Aurelius showed us that each day is an opportunity to sculpt your character. When you genuinely love yourself, every decision becomes an opportunity to honor that relationship with yourself. You ask, does this choice bring me closer to who I want to be or take me away from that person? And you act accordingly. Self-love also frees you from the chains of the past and imaginary future. Mistakes you can't change lose their tormenting power because you've learned that every experience, even painful ones, has contributed to forging the person you are today. Anxiety about an uncertain future fades when you fully trust your ability to face any challenge. Seneca taught us that time is our most valuable resource, and when you truly love yourself, you begin investing your time more consciously. Hours wasted on empty activities lose their appeal. Conversations that drain your energy become unsustainable. Situations that violate your inner peace encounter natural resistance. This life philosophy also teaches you to celebrate your victories, however small. You recognize your achievements, appreciate your progress, and give yourself credit for the effort you put into improving every day. Successes stop being minimized or attributed solely to luck or external circumstances. When self-love becomes your compass, navigating life becomes clearer. Difficult decisions become easier because you have clear criteria. Does this honor me or betray me? Toxic relationships become more obvious because you know the contrast with genuine respect. Unsatisfying jobs become unsustainable because you know you deserve a life that inspires you. Self-love doesn't make you selfish or narcissistic. On the contrary, it allows you to be more generous and compassionate with others because you no longer give from scarcity, but from abundance. You can help others without exhausting yourself because you keep your own emotional resources full. You can love others without losing your identity because you know exactly who you are. True wisdom begins with self-knowledge. When you know and love yourself completely, you become a source of light for others. Your example inspires those around you to begin their own journey towards self-love. You become living testimony that it's possible to live in peace with yourself. This is the most powerful silent revolution you can start. Deciding you're no longer going to be your own enemy. That you're going to treat yourself with the same kindness you give others. That you're going to value your own company as much as you value that of people you love. That you're going to build a life that honors who you really are, not who others expect you to be. The path won't always be easy. There will be days when the voices of doubt and internal criticism are stronger than those of understanding and love. But each time you choose self-love over self-destruction, you strengthen that emotional muscle that will allow you to navigate any storm with dignity and grace. Life is too short and too precious to waste waiting for others' permission to be happy. The love you seek in others already exists within you, waiting to be recognized, cultivated, and celebrated. Everything you need to begin this transformation is already in your hands. So here's my question for you. Will you keep searching for love where it doesn't exist? Or will you start becoming your own greatest source of love? What's been your biggest challenge in learning to love yourself? Share your thoughts, and remember, your transformation can inspire others to begin their own journey toward genuine self-worth.